Hello and welcome back to the Footballing Question YouTube channel, and for the second week in a row, let's get into some predictions. Last week I did okay. I got one score bang on, which was Forest Wolves. I nearly got Arsenal bang on, but I didn't expect a fourth goal to come from Granit Xhaka. I got a few results right. I got a few howlers. I got this City result right, despite the temptation to predict the draw. You know, I got it right, didn't exactly predict them to absolutely thrash Liverpool in the same way. And I actually jinxed Tottenham, which I'm a little bit pleased about because they drew to Everton. And I predicted the Newcastle win right. You know, I didn't expect the clean sheet, which has got me. But, you know, first week, here or there, I've learned some mistakes I made. I definitely screwed up on the Brighton one. I was way too confident, and that obviously ended up in a draw. Anyway, let's start off in order of all the games, starting with the early kickoff, ending with the final game on Sunday. So let's start off. Man United 2, Everton 1. You know, Everton did all right midweek. You know, they played actually quite well against Tottenham in the latter stages. They created opportunities, they got into good positions, and then just were making the wrong decisions. And they finally got that deserved point through that Michael Keane thunderstrike, which surprised everyone. No one knew he had it in his locker. I don't even think he knew. And it was a terrific strike. And they definitely deserved something out of that game. But here's the thing, you can't rely on something like that in every game. He's not going to come up with something like that. You need to take your chances with the players who get the chances the majority of the time, with the forwards, and they've not been doing that. And sure, United on the best form, they did actually pick up a 1-0 win against Brentford, who are a good side. But, you know, Everton on the best. They're at home, they're at Old Trafford. I expect them to take, 3 points in that game. 2-1 though, I do think Everton maybe nick a goal somewhere, because I think United have been vulnerable as of late recently. But United are the best side. They've got the players, they've got Rashford, he hasn't scored. He scored in the midweek. You know, I just think it's a case of Everton not having enough to beat them. And yeah, I think United will win this. Maybe it won't be comfortable, because they haven't been great as of so far, but you know, they've got enough to beat Everton, surely. Next, Villa 2, Forest 0. Steve Cooper is still in the job. There was a lot of rumours. TalkSport said he was about to leave, and then Nottingham Forest came out and made a statement, we made an official statement, Steve Cooper is still the manager. Yeah, however, that might not be, for long. Obviously, he's got the fans backing, but, if they lose on the weekend, for all we know, that might be it. Villa are on great form, outside of, the teams in the top race, Arsenal and City. Villa have been massively impressive in the last month or so. Unai Emery's really got them ticking at the moment. He's really got them playing. He's getting the best out of Ollie Watkins, which, no one's really managed since he came to Villa. He started off well at Villa, then he's, kind of petered away, and now suddenly he's really performing again under Unai Emery. And, I just don't see Villa are at home. They're firing. I'm sorry, Forest, but with the way your fixture list is going, you're going to have a tough end to the season, and you could go down. It's going to get to that point, and yeah, they really have to rely on their home form. They really do, and they've still got some tough fixtures. Forest are really, really in trouble, but Villa, I can't see them. For all we know, they might end up blowing them away. But I'd say 2-0, because Villa might be a little bit wasteful. But yeah, 2-0 Villa. Next is a big game, potentially as entertaining as a game last week. Brentford 2, Newcastle 2. Brentford obviously played Brighton last week in an absolute thriller in a 3-3 draw, and I see a similar result. This is a really tough game for Newcastle away at the GTEC Community Stadium. They've only lost one game at this ground, which was to Arsenal, obviously, in September. I enjoyed that performance quite a lot, but Brentford have been so impressive this season. They were probably the better side against Brighton at the Amex, which you can't say about most teams who go there, but Brentford really impressed and led 3 times, and Newcastle may be in for a rude awakening. I don't think they'll lose, but they're going to test that defence. They've got one of the most prolific strikers in the league. Ivan Toney's been class, still yet to be banned for the gambling situation, and he's playing his former side, who didn't really give him a chance. So I think that might motivate him. Ivan Toney's definitely on the score sheet. Probably scores. I think he scores both goals. 2 goals for him, and Newcastle get a point. It's not the worst point in the world, and it's a place where a lot of people will struggle. It's not a shameful result for Newcastle, but yeah, 2-2. I think this is going to be an absolute corker of a game. Now, from an entertaining game to one which I don't think will impress many people, Fulham 1, West Ham 1. Yeah, Fulham without Mitrovic, without Willian, I think they might just be missing something, obviously, because it's the most prolific goal scorer, and it's just not going to be happening in the same way for them. West Ham, you saw it against Newcastle. That is one of the worst performances you will see from a side this season. Shocking. They just gave up and were just pathetic defensively. That's the only way you can describe it. And I think, Moyes could have been sacked many times throughout the season. And I'm pretty sure what's been said is that if they lose this game, I think that's it. So, I feel like it's going to be a drab draw is the answer. That's the way I see it going. I think Fulham, without Mitrovic, are missing something. They are, I'd probably expect them to be the better side with West Ham. Not being that great, but maybe if it's a London derby, it motivates them to maybe perform a little bit better. They'll score a goal. They're not a team which lack goals, but a team which, doesn't score two every week. I just see this being a boring 1-1. If Fulham had their players all available, I'd see them winning this game. Without Mitrovic, however, I can see them being wasteful, as I see most sides being, and West Ham nick a point and Moyes drudges on for one more week, but it feels like any moment now he could, lose his job. But yeah, I'm going 1-1, not an entertaining one, and yeah, nearly over with the 3 o'clockers here. Next, Leicester 0, Bournemouth 1. They got rid of Rodgers, and then instantly the same thing happened again as Rodgers' last game. Went 1-0 up and lost 2-1, and it happened at home to Villa. That Indeedy assist for Bertrand Traoré is pathetic. It's so just it just shows where their season's going, because he's been one of the most reliable players over the years, and he's just passing it to a player to score the winner. With Leicester, it doesn't feel like things are going right. Sure, and Bournemouth did lose in midweek. I'll admit that. And the defending for Enciso's goal for Brighton is poor, because he just has so much time in the box. Brighton have been top class this season. Leicester are nowhere near that level of performing. I think Bournemouth have that extra bit of motivation to fight for it at the moment, and you've seen that recently with the win last week, with the performance at Arsenal. I know I keep mentioning that it was a month ago, but like that kind of level of performance is there. The beating Liverpool, I just feel like they have that extra bit of motivation. I can see them nicking it. They're not that clinical side, neither are Leicester, so 1-0 is the scoreline. I think it'll be tight, but I think Bournemouth edge it on just the willingness to survive, the struggle to survive, and I think they've got that fight in them, which I think Leicester are lacking at the moment. Next up, Spurs 1, Brighton 3. I know, and I'm going to be honest, Spurs are not the favourites in this game. Brighton are going into this game as favourites. That feels insane if you said it to someone a year ago, but Brighton are on top class form. They won at the Spurs ground last year. What was it? I think it was 1-0 through Trossard. They played pretty well throughout that game, and it was a late Trossard winner. Obviously now at Arsenal they're missing Trossard, but they've got so many good players, Matoma, Ferguson, McAllister, Caicedo. They've got such a strong side. They're so good. And Spurs, really weren't impressive. Getting rid of Conte didn't really change much. They're still pretty drab in terms of the way they play their football. Scoring only via a penalty against a team struggling to stay in the league, on Tuesday night, and now they've got to face one of the most impressive sides in the league. The way they play football, the way they attack, the way they've done so far this season has been nothing short of amazing. What De Zerbi's got them doing is so incredible, and I can't see anything but a Brighton win. And this is not the Arsenal bias talking. Brighton are just a really good team. I cannot see anything other than a Brighton win at Tottenham. I'm sorry. 3-1. Probably 3 different goal scorers with the way Brighton play. Spurs, probably Kane. Let's be honest, probably a penalty. But I just think Brighton are going to win this game. I'd be so surprised if Brighton do not win on the weekend. Wolves 0, Chelsea 1. Yeah, Lampard is back. Obviously, you may have seen the video came out last night, which I did about Lampard. Pretty brief, pretty quick to just get it out, but mention what the situation is with Lampard, my thoughts on it, the pros and cons, looking through Lampard's side of things. And it is going to be a really good opportunity for Lampard to kind of kickstart his career again. Obviously, Everton didn't really leave things that good, and now he's finally got a job to kind of, boost his reputation as a manager. And I think that might just help. He's a known face as a manager by, half of the squad. The other half is completely new. But I think he might just help. I think it might help a little bit. Maybe Mount might play a bit better. Maybe he'll keep things simple. The issue with Potter is he made a lot of changes. Never knew his best 11. Made constant subs, trying to please people all the time. I feel Lampard may just keep things a little bit more simple, which is sometimes all you need. And Wolves have been inconsistent. There was a point where Lopetegui came in and it looked amazing. They beat Liverpool 3-0. They beat Spurs at Molineux, but now things still aren't looking too great. With the loss to Leeds, they're struggling for goals recently. They got the draw at Forest, but yeah, not been the most impressive. I just see Chelsea nicking this 1-0. I don't know who the hell's going to score, but I think they can just nick it. Maybe it's João Felix, maybe it's Havertz, maybe it's Mount, I don't know, but I think they will just scrape it 1-0, and that's all they need. They just need a win at the moment to kickstart any bit of momentum to close out the season. And yeah, that is how I think the beginning of Lampard's second run is going to go. Southampton 0, City 3. Yeah, I don't see anything but a City demolition job. Yeah, I mean, it's a late kickoff, it's under the lights, they're fighting relegation. What's going to happen? City are going to score really early on and shut the game up. They'll play Southampton off the park and demolish them. Grealish is probably going to play brilliantly. He's on top form at the moment. He's on fire. And even though I don't like City, it's really nice to see for Grealish because he struggled last season and he's a player I really liked at Aston Villa. So to see him now finally fitting in is a little bit nice to see. However, at the same time, not great because I want City to fall off a little bit and that would help, take the pressure off Arsenal a little bit. But yeah, I can't see anything but City thrashing Southampton. They're at the bottom of the table for a reason. And yeah, 3-0 City, can't see anything else. I don't know if Haaland's back for it or not. I think he's back in training. So he might be on the bench and come on, but I expect him to play at some point, and he will get a goal probably. Yeah, 3-0 City, pretty basic prediction. It's not that hard. Don't have to think that hard for it. City are going to win this. Leeds 2, Palace 1. Leeds, they're a weird side. They lost to Arsenal last weekend, and they actually started the better side. They created good opportunities, and as soon as Arsenal took the lead, they fell off completely. And that's how it went. However, in midweek, they were just the better side against Forest and won the game deservedly. And I think at home, at Ellen Road, they have an edge. They gave my side a lot of trouble at Ellen Road and probably deserved something out of the game. They missed a penalty in that match. And I think against Palace, Palace found that last-minute winner against Leicester last weekend in the first match under Roy. I don't know if they can find something against Leeds. Away from home, tough atmosphere, also fighting for survival. And the one thing we saw, despite the good performance against Leicester, they weren't clinical, they weren't really taking their chances, they weren't getting the ball in the right area enough. Despite playing the better, they had to wait for that chance. And even their equaliser came from an own goal. It was a fortunate goal. So, yeah, I don't think they'll have enough to overcome Leeds. Leeds need to take that momentum from the Forest game, bring it into the weekend. I think Leeds edge it 2-1. Finally, the prediction you've all waited for, Liverpool versus Arsenal. It's a big game in the title race. It's a big game in the race for top four. Liverpool are pretty much out of the race for top four, let's be honest, but there might just be a small bit of hope for them. And I think they're dropping points on the weekend. But do I think they're losing? I don't. Liverpool 2, Arsenal 2. I think this will be a good game. I think Arsenal are going to fight. Arsenal have a poor record at Anfield. And even though they are at the top of the league, even though my side are performing fantastically, Anfield, there's something about it with our record there. I just cannot see us winning there. But I think we get a point. I think we get a point at Anfield. I think 2-2. Maybe we're bleeding 2-1 and they just get an equaliser and we just can't find it. I would take a draw going into this game. I would absolutely take a point. Arsenal know they can afford to draw twice. If we don't lose at City, we can afford 2 draws outside of that fixture and still win the league. Obviously, we shouldn't be thinking like that. We should be going into every fixture winning it. But as a fan, that's the way I'm thinking about it. I would take a point in this game because we've got this game, City away and Newcastle away. Those are the key 3 fixtures for the rest of the season, which I'm terrified of. Other than that, I'd probably point out Brighton at home as the other one. But this is a potential stumbling block. And I'd love an Arsenal win. I would love it, but part of my brain just cannot picture it. It just can't. The last time we won there was August 2012. The last time we won there, Santi Cazorla and Lucas Podolski scored their first goals for Arsenal. Do you understand how mental that is? It's insane. But yeah, I just struggle to picture an Arsenal in Anfield, and that's why I'm going 2-2. Anyway, that is all. Those are my predictions for game week 30 of the Premier League season. Comment below what you think. What would you change? What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? Like the video if you've enjoyed it. Ding the bell for notifications so you can be notified every single time we upload on this channel. Make sure to look at all the other videos. You know, the video last night about Lampard, you know, give that a watch. All the highlights, podcast clips, and all the previous podcast full episodes on this channel. Don't forget to check them out. This has been The Footballing Question, and I'll see you around.